Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. The title of this episode is Empower and Awaken Your Best Health. In this episode, we are speaking with Jeff Lader, the co founder and CEO of L8R Lifestyle, an online fitness coaching platform whose mission is to empower, inform, inspire, and awaken others to their best health and optimal fitness. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the platform today. I'm so excited to have you on. And before we dive into today's topic, can you please give the audience a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are today?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk about all things health and fitness, and hopefully I can add some value to your audience. My background, I did not take a traditional route into fitness and health. I didn't ever view it as a career, and so it was always something that just was a passion of mine and a hobby. And I pursued I got my degree in finance and marketing, and started working in the corporate world until this kind of organically took over. Just as I was a personal trainer and pursued it, just for fun. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had my own health journey that I pursued, and ended up going down the bodybuilding route, trying to take it to the extreme, and ended up having some success there, and ended up turning pro in bodybuilding. But that kind of showed me the other side of things, and just how sustainable or how unsustainable a strict lifestyle like that can be. And it mirrors what a lot of people do when it comes to dieting. And so it's kind of steered me in the other direction of like, let's find a way to make this more sustainable, more practical. And I have a coaching company now, and we've helped thousands of people get to a sustainable and permanent transformation, which is our goal and mission today.
And what I love about your platform is that it's online. So you can have like a big reach to people. And especially in today's world, when the pandemic happened and everything,
Yeah.
like a lot of people like are afraid to go to the gym now, or they're afraid to work out because they don't know like what they're doing in the gym, and they feel like people might be judging them, and that's just their own insecurity. But I love that you're an online platform and you can reach people, and you're kind of like that new age type of business. And I kind of wanted to talk to you about like how and why is the fitness industry broken?
Well, I guess two things there. I mean, yes, we actually started out doing everything in person, but not in a gym. We met with people at our kitchen table,
Uh-huh.
is from our humble beginnings, and then, but we still work from home, and we work with people all over the world. So, and that's something that we were doing before the pandemic hit, luckily. And I think the pandemic actually did help us in terms of helping people understand how it does work
Mm-hmm.
virtually, instead of like, well, how does this work if I live in Ohio and you're, on the West Coast? It works the same as if you were next door to me. But in terms of like how the fitness industry is broken, I think that's pretty easy for anybody to acknowledge when you look at the success rate of any diet.
Yeah.
They're terrible. It's a failure rate. It's not a success rate. Most people, I mean, we could lose weight. Everyone can lose weight, but everyone regains it. They gain it back. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of reasons for that. I think some of the tactics and the philosophies used with the nutrition and the fitness, for one, are not sustainable. But two, they're never addressing really what causes us to gain the weight back, or even how we got there to begin with.
Yeah. So, what would be like a balanced diet? Let's say a mom came in and it's like really busy lifestyle, the fluctuating with their weight. Like, what are some advice that you can give to a busy mom about having that sustainable diet to keep that balanced lifestyle and not going to that one extreme or the other?
Well, I think you kind of said it even just there. I mean, it is to be a little bit more balanced. And I think that when we look at the almost every single diet out there, they're all very dogmatic in the way that they view things. And like, oh, carbs are bad, fats are bad, meat is bad. It's bad if you eat in the morning. It's bad if you eat at night. There are all these good and bad things, and it's so black and white. And
Mm-hmm.
it really isn't like that. And I think, like, I even have questions like this all the time that get sent to me in DMs and emails and responses to emails and stuff that I've sent, where they're like, well, I heard this is bad if I do this. I heard this is good if I do that. I would never view anything like that, because we're all different, unique individuals. And so, when you look at the ketogenic diet, which has been one of the most popular diets of the last decade, and that's very, very clear that, oh, carbs are bad. Carbs do this for you. Carbs make you fat. And everyone has that impression. And so
Mm-hmm.
what do? Well, I guess I got to do the ketogenic diet. Everyone's losing weight when they restrict carbs. So that's what we do. And then that creates a bad relationship with food for us, and creates this phobia almost
Mm-hmm.
of about carbs.
Yeah.
And instead, like, really, carbs are macronutrients. They're one of the macros that serve as an energy source for us as humans. They're not bad. Nothing is inherently fattening, despite what, that's a saying that used to be said all the time, like, oh, this is a fattening food.
Mm-hmm.
That How? Explain that to me. How is this fattening?
Yeah.
Nothing is fattening. You have to be either in a surplus or a deficit. And if you're in a surplus, a caloric surplus, where you're eating more calories than you're burning, you're going to gain mass of some sort, fat or muscle, water, but it's not necessarily fattening. So, yeah, you got to find something that you can sustainably do that
Mm-hmm.
allows you to live life as a busy mom, as a stressed out mom, or any person.
Any person.
Um, yeah, and still stay fit. And that's what we help people do.
Perfect. So, so I have all of the information down below for people to connect if they want to meet with one of your coaches. So, if someone were to come work with you, do they have to have like any equipment? Like, what type of fitness programs do you work on?
They don't necessarily need any equipment. If they feel more comfortable working out at home, they can do body weight stuff.
Mhm.
Even you had some minimal equipment, or if you wanted to get some, it really would be very simple. I mean, bands. If you wanted to get dumbbells, you could. You don't need to. If you like to go to the gym, we can make that work too. But one thing I would say too, when it comes to actually working out, is you don't necessarily need to be a part of a gym. Like if you have something that you enjoy doing already, like hiking, playing a certain sport, rock climbing, different things like that, it can always be incorporated. And you should never like give that up and like, well, I'm supposed to do cardio, and everyone thinks of like running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be that. Like, hey, if you like to, I mean, because it's burning calories essentially. You obviously get the cardiovascular strength and health benefits from
Mhm.
performing cardio. But in the end, when it comes to actually like, improving your body composition, it's just burning calories. So if that's more enjoyable for you to walk your dog than it is to go on the treadmill at the gym, let's do that, because you're more
Exactly.
likely to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but after that, I mean, nutrition is a huge focus because that's what everyone struggles with. But not just that, we address what's going on inside, in between the ears, and some of the limiting beliefs that a lot of us have, and so many people believe that they don't deserve to be fit, or that can be fit, or they identify as somebody that like struggles to lose weight. And sometimes those things manifest themselves in our actions, and our beliefs drive our actions. So if we don't believe that, that we can lose weight, or that we struggled in the past, which we use as evidence, like, oh, see, I did that diet and it failed me, or I failed it, or I'm doing something wrong. We have this belief that we're making all sorts of mistakes. And, there might be some mistakes being made, but it doesn't mean that you can't get fit. But so many people believe that. It's just that what you've tried in the past didn't work. That's information. Take that in. Okay, let's learn from that. Let's go from that. That doesn't mean that you can't find a solution. You can. And maybe that tactic didn't work. But I think really the key of this is having the right mindset, which is easier said than done to actually make that shift. But it is something that we view as very, very powerful to making this permanent. Because again, everyone can lose weight, but they gain it back for a lot of different reasons. We self-sabotage is the primary one.
Yeah. And I really like what you said because it really is life is a mental game. And we
Mm.
can't look at fitness as just for like the image and the look of like what it can do for our bodies. We have to think about how it can affect our minds and our mood and how we can implement that into our day and structure. And I think that's something that's really important with fitness is it gives you some type of structure, it gives you some type of accountability for yourself. And it's all a mental game, like you were talking about, what's in between the ears. And if we go into it like, oh, I'm not seeing the results, we have to think about the results that we have in our mind about how we feel about ourselves. And I think it's a really great reminder for people to understand that it's not just about the physicalness, it's about the mental clarity and the mental gain that you get from, just moving your body every day.
Absolutely. I mean, when you ask what somebody's goal is when it comes to fitness, they're always like, well, I want to lose X amount of weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the goal. It's not that they want to see the scale go down. It's what that would mean for them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're losing 20 pounds, that would mean that, hey, I'm all of a sudden able to fit into this lower dress size, or I'm able to, I don't know, I'm able to feel more confident just showing up for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that increased confidence, that new dress that you're able to fit into, or just this sense of accomplishment that you've given yourself, could enhance relationships. It could lead to new job opportunities. It could lead to so many other beneficial things in your life that you don't really think about, but that truly is the benefit. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and yes, you feel empowered, you feel confident. I mean, those are things that, like, yeah, I lost the weight and I keep it off. I'm a badass. It's one of those things that you can, yeah, you could be proud of. And it is empowering. And it's not just that I lost 20 pounds. That doesn't mean anything. It's what it does for you. And that's really the true benefit that we don't often think about. It's just like, I need to lose weight. Why? Why do you truly need to lose weight? And why do you want to? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
needs to be discovered oftentimes.
Hey, friends, I hope you are enjoying this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. This podcast would not be possible if it wasn't for the support of you, my wonderful community. To support Your Mama's podcast, please click the support link right down below, and you can donate just as little as 99 cents. Also, follow me in the Shop Like to Know It app, where you can follow me with all my exclusive content, all the way from baby products I love, fashion and style, and everything in between. Now, let's get back to the episode. It's just like a business and like starting something. Like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? So I think it is
Yeah.
important that when you start like that, fitness journey, your health journey is like why, and like always go back to that why so you can stay committed. Because I know
Yeah.
sometimes it's so easy to give up, like when you're not seeing the result and it feels hard. Like people just give up these days, and they need to like really go back and think about their why and know that life is a marathon and it's not a sprint, especially when it comes to our health and fitness, because
Yeah.
old habits die hard, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks sometimes, especially we're creatures of habits. So changing that lifestyle of like maybe making your food instead of going out to eat and making different food choices, those are really hard to like kind of habits to change when you're so used to eating in a certain type of way. Because you agree, like it's not just the fitness, it's the nutrition too. It's like 80% nutrition, 20% physical. I mean, is that correct? Or
I mean, I don't know if there's an exact percentage, but because I think that they're both important.
yeah.
And it's funny, I used to say that they're both 100%. Like they're both a part of the equation, and you can't have one without the other. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely can't outwork a bad diet. So if you just have the workout side of things, I mean, you might be able to build muscle, but you're not going to be able to get rid of body fat, unless you're controlling what you're eating. But yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, so often people give up, even if they're on the right track. And oftentimes it's simply because it's not going fast enough for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of the world that we live in these days, where we get everything instantly. It's instant gratification. And if we don't get the unrealistic results that we had conjured up in our minds,
Yeah.
then we think something is wrong, either with what we're doing, with us, with the method. And so the better option, for some reason, illogically, is to stop.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, because that guarantees that you're most definitely not going to get there now. Whereas maybe it's going a little bit slower, but if you didn't stop and you didn't give up, where are you going to end up?
Yeah.
You're guaranteed that outcome that you desire. You just may get there a little bit later than you wanted, but you may have been way off in your target and what you thought was realistic to get there.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't stop, you're guaranteed that you will get there.
Exactly. And I love that. You are guaranteed to get there
Yeah.
100%. Like people don't realize that. Like when they have a hiccup in the road, they just stop and then they feel like they're never going to get there. And it's a great reminder, like just keep going. You just
Yeah.
gotta keep pushing through it. And, you can never take back the feeling of like accomplishment.
No, no. I mean, the other guarantee too is that you're guaranteed that you won't get there, or you're guaranteed failure if you do stop. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a situation of choose your guarantee. Which one do you truly want?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do stop, then maybe you didn't want it quite enough. Maybe it wasn't a high enough priority for you. Maybe your why wasn't strong enough. Maybe you don't know what your why is. So all
Mm-hmm.
of that needs to be discovered along the way.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like how you broke it down as to like almost looking at it as like, what's your mission statement? What's your why? What's your goal? And it's good to have it down. And I personally think it's a good thing to like write it all out and like go back and look at it, every once in a while when you're having that doubt. Like just go
Yeah.
back and read why
Yeah,
you
it needs to be
started.
reviewed. It really does need to be reviewed frequently, and probably even it will evolve as you go.
Mm-hmm.
What you thought was your why when you started may change, it may shift. And I mean, when I've seen that happen with a number of people, but you need to be able to identify something because it has to be important enough for you to make those changes that are going to lead to the outcomes that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But also too, I think sometimes we focus way too much on the outcomes. It's like, well, I only lost a pound this week, and I got to lose 20 pounds, and I'm so far away from that, and they get discouraged because of the difference between where they're at and where they want to be. And it's kind of like outcome based goals versus habit based goals, and like what are the habits that are going to lead to those outcomes, and that's really where we should place our focus. And as you said, old habits die hard, but if you can replace those little by little without taking like huge
Yeah.
massive changes, then you're way more likely to incorporate them into your life permanently.
Yeah.
And again, that's again a problem with most diets is you jump in with 2 feet and you drown because it's just so drastic, and most people can't stick with it.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, I tried diets, I've failed, I go on like an up and down roller coaster. Like I work out, I'm like on the like 2 months straight, and then I kind of like fall off a little bit. And, I think we just need to like have fun and give ourselves forgiveness, and just
Yeah,
realize you're not going to be perfect every day, and it's okay not to be perfect and to give yourself forgiveness. But if you are better than what you were yesterday, be proud of yourself. And even if it was like your toe in the baby in the ocean, instead of like you said, diving 2 feet in, two
yeah,
feet in, as long as you put like your baby toe in, like give yourself a pat on the back. We are really hard on ourselves and so outcome focused that we forget to just have fun in the process and live life and realize it's not that serious. Unless like, you know, your life is on the line and you have to do something, because you're extremely unhealthy, but nothing's really that serious.
yeah. It's interesting. I've met people that have had the threat of, potentially their life being on the line, and it's still not enough for them to take the action. They're just so buried in their beliefs, buried in their bad habits. They just can't make that shift for themselves, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate. But as you said, it's an imperfect journey, and we have to have that expectation. And I think that is partly what is missing so many times, and why we self sabotage is that if we do screw up, we're like, well, see, I'm a screw up. I can't do it. That's just proof that I can't do it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I mean, even the people that we all look up to, we're like, oh my gosh, they have the perfect body. If I had her abs, if I had her butt, whatever, if I had, the money that person had, I would be better. But we look at them as if they're robots and they're perfect. No one's like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with thousands of people and people that a lot of people look up to. Like some of my other clients, like, oh man, I'm not like Nick. I'm not like Julie. I'm not like her. I'm like, well, actually, you are, and you don't even know that I do,
Yeah.
because I see everything and I know what's going on in their life. And some people will say that about me too. I'm not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
I've just screwed up all the time, but it's
Mm-hmm.
all about being consistent and, taking those lumps as they come, but don't let them knock you down.
Yeah.
Learn from them, grow from them. That's it.
And we also have to keep in mind that like what we see on the internet isn't always real. Like there's Photoshop,
Yeah.
and plastic surgery is amazing these days. So what you think someone like has booty gains, they probably, they probably
Yeah. That's a
got a little
trend right now.
injectables in their butt or an implant. You never know. So like we got to
Yeah.
be careful when we compare ourselves to people.
Yeah. Plus, they're only showing and posting what they want you to see. I mean,
Yeah, their best
nobody's
angles.
Yeah. And even the people that are trying to be real and authentic, they're still filtering that to some degree. Maybe not even like visually filtering, but they're still only letting you see like a version of their imperfect self.
Yeah.
It's not that the real raw authentic someone taking a candid video of them. That's not how that they wouldn't post that.
Totally.
So it's we have to keep that in mind. I mean, just put yourself in their shoes. Would you do that? Probably not. No, you're posting your highlight reel. Don't
Yeah,
compare
pretty
yourself
much.
to someone's highlight reel.
It's like people take like 20 selfies to get the perfect selfie.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so Jeff, I have four questions I ask all my first time guests, and I'd love to know your answers to them. So my first question to you is who and what inspires you?
Um, I don't know if there's a one specific person. It's more of the idea of the person because, I've worked with a variety of, I mean, all sorts of demographics, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. And really it's just, I think the person that feels like they're at the end of their rope and there's just no way out. That person inspires me because I know that there is always a way out. And I've seen so many of those come to me where like this is their last option.
Mhm.
This is the last thing I'm going to try, and after that, I'm going to give up. And so it's my duty for them to show up for them and show them the way and make sure that they don't give up on themselves. So
Mhm.
it's more of a concept of a person rather than one specific person.
Great answer. And then my second question is what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
I wished that I had gone all in on what I was passionate about from a younger age.
Mhm.
Because like I said in the beginning, I didn't really view fitness as a real career. It was kind of like that's what you do when you're going to college as a side hustle to help pay for some bills, and that's it. You can get a certification over the weekend. I didn't respect the position, even though it was super, super passionate about it. So I just wish that I had pursued my dreams from an earlier age.
No, I feel you on that one. I feel like a lot of people have given me that answer. Like, I wish I just started what I was doing when I was younger and had the courage and uh,
Yeah.
the strength to do it and all that stuff. So,
But at the same time, to follow up from that, like everything that I did led me to where I am now.
exactly.
And my background is pretty diverse, and I view that as an advantage. So it's hard to have regrets because I am happy with where I'm at now.
Perfect. As long as you're happy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my third question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine?
Well, I think that there's a lot of parts. My morning routine, which is part of my entire daily routine, is really what sets up the entire day. And the key piece to that, which is something that, to be quite honest, I resisted for the longest time, just because I thought it was kind of cheesy and not really something that I can do. I'm this big, tough bodybuilder. I don't do that stuff. But it's meditation,
Yeah,
and getting my head in the right space, kind of clearing the millions of thoughts that are going through our minds at all times, and putting myself in a place where I am going to be more receptive and have more mental clarity, so that the rest of my day can be that much more productive. I'm going to be in a lot better headspace, I'm going to be in better mood, and everything goes better. If I miss meditation, I am not the same person.
yeah, yeah. One, you're better headspace for your client too, so you can show up better for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and my last question is best advice you've ever received.
Um, Not give up, to persevere, and no matter what comes your way. Um, and I don't even think that was direct advice that was given to me. It's advice that I've heard said,
Mhm.
and I wish it was said to me earlier on. But I'm a pretty stubborn guy, so I'm kind of just naturally like hard headed, and I don't give up. I mean, that's the only reason why in my bodybuilding journey why I actually turned pro. There's nothing special about me other than I'm just stubborn, and I didn't give up. And so I eventually made it happen where I turned pro. But I think that's the case for a lot of things in life. If you have a failed business, keep going, keep trying. You will eventually get it right. Just like with your fitness, like don't give up. You're guaranteeing failure. But if you or sorry, if you do give up, but if you don't, you're guaranteeing success.
Perfect. Yeah, no, bodybuilding is, it's a lot of work. It's
Absolutely.
very, very strict. It's a lot of work. My husband's like ex was in the bodybuilding business, and he was even doing that too. And I dated someone who was doing that, and I've seen it all. It's pretty strict.
It's very strict.
It's
Yeah.
very
It
strict.
taught me a lot, and it's a part of my life, or it was a part of my life. And I don't regret it. I learned a lot from it, but it's also not for most people.
Yeah, definitely not for me. I like my food, and
Hey, I did too.
it's
That's why
definitely
I've
not
gone
for
the way
me.
I have.
Anyway, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It was such a fruitful conversation. All of Jeff's information and links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi. Take your fitness to the next level. I'm sure he will help you get to your goals and everything that you need to do in life. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and listening to another episode of Not Your Mama's podcast.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.